everyone. I'm Mary Kate Castellani, the publishing director of Bloomsbury Children's Books, and the lucky editor that worked with best-selling and award-winning author Carole Lindstrom and illustrator McKnight on their gorgeous new picture book, The Gift of the Great Buffalo. The story is really a historical adventure that features Rose, a young Métis girl whose family is preparing for the biannual buffalo hunt in the late 1800s. Rose's father is a leader of the hunt, but unfortunately, it's proving difficult to locate the herd, and their community's survival depends upon it. Rose is determined to help, so she sets off on her own despite being told to stay back with the women and children. So, Carole, why did you feel like it was time to illuminate this history and this setting for today's readers?
It's really a story that was something in my heart dear to me because the Little House on the Prairie stories, I grew up with those when I was a child. And I struggled a lot with them because I didn't see myself in them portrayed in positive ways. We were always the savages or just the brutal, mean people. But and I knew that's not who we were because that's not who I am, and my mother was, and my grandma. So I knew that this story had to be told, and that I could be the one to tell the story.
So, what about Rose's experience did you want readers to notice and take away from the story you're telling via Rose?
Gosh, I'm going to focus right now on just something about like all children, I think in general can relate to. And that's just a feeling of I could do anything. And I know that if I was able to help, that I could do it. Because there is that sort of superhero quality all children feel they have.
Something that I also will be so meaningful to modern readers is that deep connection to the land that Rose feels. I would love to hear more about what the buffalo means to Rose and her community and some of the deep history of that.
Tribes that come from the plains where buffalo is part of our lives. They were sacred. They offered their lives for us. And, it wasn't just the meat that we ate. Of course, it was the whole buffalo that was used. The bones for tools, the sinew for thread, for, sewing, to make their snowshoes. They were part of the land. We're part of the land. We're all connected. And I hope that young people and older people can also feel this connection that is universal, that all children have a gift and have something to offer. And really, that should be respected and honored.
Thank you, Carole, for sharing all that beautiful history with us. And Allie, over to you. What was it about this story that connected for you that made you feel like you had the vision to illustrate it?
The thing that piqued my curiosity initially was the title, The Gift of the Great Buffalo. Because for a majority of my artistic journey, I've centered my artwork around Native peoples and how we are inextricably connected to nature, and even more specifically to buffalo. I was just overwhelmed by the bravery of this little girl and her ongoing journey. And I just knew I needed to honor her story and the relationship between the buffalo and her family and her community.
I was so in love with the piece that you created where Rose and Pa are facing each other. One is real, one is imagined. It's so beautifully composed and evocative of a child. How did you plan for that piece and what did you hope readers would notice about it?
My goal when approaching any artwork is to use textures and colors and layers of paint and graphite, different materials to create a range of moods and emotions on, a flat piece of paper. With this specific spread, Rose is experiencing what feels like a dozen emotions in such a short amount of time. There's a sense of grounding and safety through bold colors where she's physically tethered to her environment. Meanwhile, there's this element of nostalgia being represented through that translucent type of layer, and that element is found throughout the book. So when you're reading through her story, there are little reminders of our history and our roots and the lessons we have hopefully carried with us being represented by that kind of layer. And I just hope that readers can feel the wonder and curiosity in this story through the visuals that I've created for them.
And I love that connection that you and Carole have created with this story. Thank you, Allie. And thank you, Carole, for your time and your talent and everything that you've put into this book. It just sings.